Hello, early on December 4, 2025. And yesterday I finished reading The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. Again, he is the author of the Chronicles of Narnia, which I'd read all of those prior. And I've read, I think, three books of his that are not Narnia related. One was a fictional, kind of a weird book. And then a couple, including this one, are nonfiction. And the other one was Mere Christianity. This one delves into love and the different types of love. And it's a really hard book to review, I will tell you right now, because he was talking off the cuff on a radio broadcast, apparently. I see my mouth is moving weird on this thing. I hope it's recording it correctly, but we'll see. If not, I might have to redo this. Anyway, he was recording it off the cuff, and it was captured that way. And the book reads, especially at the beginning, um, as a little wonky because he does get scholarly at some points, uses references to, I guess, philosophers and scholars of that time, which was quite a while ago. And unless you're real familiar with those people, you have to either look into them and see what their angles were, or just kind of brush over it a little bit, which is what I did. So you take some of those references with a grain of salt, not fully knowing what he's pointing out. Perhaps he gets a little bit of deep words sometimes that are not real relatable. And then some of his stories, just like in the other nonfiction book, are kind of bizarre. I mean, one of the sections is about sexual love between man and woman, and he's talking about people going to strippers and gawking at naked women and stuff, and that section was kind of bizarre. Not something that I would affiliate with love, perhaps, but maybe that's part of his point. That section in particular, I didn't find a lot of good information in it. The sections that, and the intro section is more about need love, where like a child needs the mom and stuff like that. And it's basically just presenting a frame for what he's going to talk about later. The sections, the two loves that I found the most value were the friend love, which that one even got weird too, where he's talking about friendship between two men. And he even explored at one point about how do I say it? How to look at your own friendship between you and a man and know that it's not somehow homosexual. And I thought that was weird because I've had a lot of men friends and I've never sat there going, I wonder. No, that's not even in there anywhere. So that was kind of strange. I guess from a scholarly perspective, he needs to point it out. I don't know. Um, I think he's going back into trench warfare and stuff like that, where there weren't females around, and that's the impression I got, that there weren't females around when he was fighting in World War I, and he probably saw some things that changed his perspective on that part of it. And yeah, I haven't been through that and don't want to. Um, anyway, the fourth one, the very last part of the book, if you have soldiered on through the first three, which I could see a lot of people starting this and not making it through it, because of those kind of wonky things in there, and um, scholarly words that are a little bit, and references that are hard to follow. But when you get to the very end, which is basically the love between God and man, that is the home run out of this book. And it is very short. It's really like the last 20 pages out of 180 pages. And if anything, it seems to me, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but if it was intentional, it was very wise. he basically, in a way, pointed the first three loves out as not very important, and that they can become wrong in a way. Like if you love a person so much that you feel like you can't part with them, then it's almost idolatry, because eventually we're all going to die. And that relationship will come to an end. In the last 20 pages, he explored the question about, are we going to know each other in heaven? And I know a lot of people, and that part was really impactful, because a lot of people think in terms, even nowadays, if they're believers, they think in terms of, well, when I go to heaven, I'm going to get to see my past relatives that have passed. And I'll be honest, I felt that way too. But he presented a possibility. It's kind of like you go to elementary school and then you go on to middle school, and you don't really follow up with those kids from elementary. And then when you go to high school, you don't really follow up with those kids from middle school. And when you graduate and go off to college, you're probably not going to follow up with a lot of those high school people. Maybe some you do, but for the most part, you're going on to the next bigger thing. And that's the way he describes our passing into heaven, that you won't even need to worry about that situation, because it's almost not even important at all. And it's hard for us to fathom on earth that our family members and friends are not going to be important in the next life, but he may be onto something. There's a scripture in the Bible about all the tears will be wiped from your eyes. And there's a possibility that that means that your memories of earth might not be there anymore. I don't know if that's the situation or not, or if they are, maybe it will just be like, okay, that was then, and then this is my new existence, and I'm in the presence of God. But the thing that he said that was interesting was that if you make going to heaven about primarily about going to see your past relatives, you're already off base, because your relationship with God is supposed to be so deep and more important that that's like an afterthought. It's not your main focus when you're ready to go, that I'm going to go get to see my relatives. Maybe that's an extra bonus if it happens, might not happen according to him. And we don't really know, right? So it may just be that we're in the presence of God, and that's all we need, and that's all we're going to get. So if it is all we're going to get, then especially you have to be ready for that, and already be kind of living that way here. And then it makes you also wonder by association that if you are not in the proper mindset about how important God is in your life, that he is number one, even more than family and friends, are we qualified? I don't know if that's the right word. Are we qualified to get there in the first place? Are we going to get there in the first place? Because it says that the path to heaven is narrow, right? The road to heaven is narrow. The road to destruction is wide, and many go there. So the challenge for us is to figure out, how do we make God the most important thing in our life, more than family and friends? And part of what he goes into with these relationships that are earthly is that there's a lot of things that are misconceptions, especially like people think that, oh, if I find the perfect spouse, my life will just be, like heaven on earth. And he's basically saying there is no such thing, that we can't have that close of a relationship with another person. And if we do, it's more than likely fake. It's like a delusion, and is wrong. Now, there are people that are like two peas in a pod, and it's probably because both of them think the same way and they want the same things. when you find two people that are like-minded like that, they can really get along well. That being said, they shouldn't be that important to each other that their number one thing in life is the other person, because eventually one of them's going to leave, more than likely prior than the other person, unless they go in an accident or something. And then they're going to have to exist without the other person. So the thing about God is that he's always with you no matter what. Anyone that's lost a spouse knows what I'm talking about, whether it's through someone passing or if you go through bad divorce or whatever, which I have. It really teaches you that you cannot put another person on the kind of pedestal like that, because ultimately you don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to treat you the way you're supposed to be? Or are they going to kick you to the curb without any warning if they get another whim or whatever? So the last 20 pages of this was really, really good. And it's up to you whether you want to trudge through 160 pages about earthly love to find out more about heavenly love. And I think it's worth it. I think overall it's a good book. It's a little deep at some points, a little bit. Some of his examples are a little strange sometimes, but he hits the mark when it comes to the main focus of this, which is the love between God and man, and how God reaches out and basically took on a lot of misery just to reach out to us. And if we don't reciprocate, it's really not cool, because he deserves a response based on everything he did to reach us. So anyway, it wasn't as good as Mere Christianity, but still pretty good book.